They kind of got this set up like they don't want you to repair it. Okay. Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to get into this McCulloch Electramac EM250 electric chainsaw. Model number's 250-14. I'm assuming the 14 is the 14-inch bar. But you guys might recognize this from the 70s Homelight XL video where I flashed a brief picture of the milk crate of saws I picked up last fall. This one was actually on the top. So I wasn't going to make a video on this one since one, it seemed to work fine, and two, it's an electric chainsaw, so there's not much small engine repairing you can do on these, but I was testing it, getting it ready for a new owner, and noticed the oiling system isn't working. So I figured why not bring you guys along as I crack into this thing and see if we can't fix it. So a quick Google search history on this saw and the brand. The McCulloch name's actually been around since the 40s, went bankrupt in 99, where they were bought by Black & Decker, and now I believe the brand's owned by Husqvarna. So I'm not sure if they actually manufacture anything underneath the McCulloch name anymore, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong there. But based on what I see in this saw, it's got a label of Tucson, Arizona, and based on my research, McCulloch had moved there in 88, so this puts manufacture of this saw between 88 and 99, probably somewhere in the 90s. So let's get this thing ready to get torn apart and we'll dig into it. Let's get this thing propped up a little bit so it's a little easier to work on. Sprocket has some grooves in it, but I guess that's okay. I don't know. Probably wouldn't be able to get a replacement part for it anyway. But it looks like we got to take all these screws out. And maybe this bar stud plate. So I guess that's next. Yeah, so it looks like the oiler's behind this drum, and it's looks like just standard flexible line. Here's the tank fitting. There's probably a filter in here. But the chain brake had to be down for me to pull that side cover off. There must be some kind of a plastic tab or something. Let's get that drum off. Okay, so a better look. It looks like from the tank was right around here. And it looks like they had a line going into the fitting here for the pump and then through a hole to the back side of this block. And it looks like it's a push style pump. And that corresponds with a raised and lowered kind of ramp on the back of the sprocket drum. So it's pretty interesting. How do we get this out of there to get to the back side of that? Do we need to take these off? I'm not sure. They kind of got this set up like they don't want you to repair it. Okay, let me take a look at this thing. I'll bring you back. Okay, so we got this opposite side cover off. They tried to stop us with a security torque, so I just drilled out the center of it and got it out of there. So how do we Can we push the motor out? No. Well, we've got another security Torx here. Do we want to try to take that one out? Okay, we got that other one out. Now, can we pull this thing out of here? Yeah. Chain brake's holding us up now. That'll work. Awesome. Not sure if you can see that. Let me try to get a light. There's the back side of that line. That one's broken too. That goes to the back side of the oiling port. And there's a bird feather in here. Let me try to get you a better view of that. So there's the back side of the line. That goes through a hole to one port of the pumper. So we'll have to replace that. And I'm not sure we actually needed to take the fan shroud on the other side of the housing out. I think it was just that one security screw on this side. So I was looking at the line. I think we can use regular fuel line, and I got one that's the same size. So I'll get a section put on. I think I'm going to do the section that goes here first, that goes through the hole to the pump, and then we'll have to figure out a length between the other side of the pump and the fuel tank, and we'll have to take a look at the fuel tank too. So I think my plan of attack is going to be, I'm going to hook this line to the port here that'll be covered up, feed it through here, attach it to that pumping port, and then put this thing back together, and we can kind of figure out a good length between the pump and the fuel tank after it's kind of back together and a little bit more manageable to handle. So hopefully you guys can see there's a port right here, and that's clear to the other side of the I guess oiling block to the bar. Okay, it's all the way on there. Let's feed it through here. Let's get this flipped around so you guys can see. So here's the port here that needs to go to, and then this is the other one that goes to the tank. We can probably just cut that. Okay, we're on there. Let's get this motor put back in, and then we can work on this other part of the line. Okay, I think we're good. Our oil line's not pinched, so that should deliver up to this port here just fine now. This can go back on. All right, I'm going to get this screw put back in. I'll bring you back when we're ready to do the other line. All right, so that guy's put back in there as good as I can get it after I mangled it. Let's see what we got here. So that looks like the filter. And this looks like maybe a barb for a line. Kind of looks like they used the OD of the line to hold that in there at the bottom. And it's pretty dirty too. Yeah, and there's a bunch of crap in the tank too. All right, so I'm gonna go spray both of these out with some carb spray, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to do the line. Okay, it's pretty clean in there. And I blew backwards with some carb spray through this, and it was clear, so we're good there. So my guess is we gotta feed this line through all the way out, put that filter, and then pull it back through, kind of like a fuel filter on a two-stroke. I don't know if you can actually push it through with the barb on it from the outside here. I think it's going to be too big an OD. So let's try the push through method. Okay, just going to pull that through. Okay, I think that's kind of how they had it, with the barb sticking a little bit through to seal the hole. It sat right here. Let's cut that right about there. All right, I think that'll do it. All right. Reassembly. Before we go to put oil in this thing, let's make sure we put it back together right and it turns on. think that'll do. That's about half full. All right, so we should see some oil come out of here as we're running this thing. It's going to be loud, so sorry in advance. We got it. Okay, a couple of things I want to show you guys before I put this back together. I am not going to mess with the bar or the chain on this one, and I'll show you why here. So on the chain, you can see the left chisel tips are a lot shorter than the ones on the right. So it's just heavily worn, and it's going to cause a crooked cut. And I would really just prefer to replace this chain than try to sharpen it, because you'll never get an even sharpen. You'd have to take these down quite a bit to match these shorter ones. So that's the chain problems. And then the bar is heavily grooved. I don't know if you can see that on the tip there, but I'm just going to recommend to whoever gets this, they replace the bar and the chain if they can still get them. My guess is this was probably run without oiling for quite a while to cause that, especially if those lines were broken. So I'll get these things put back on here and wrap this up. The adjustment screws at the end of its reach too to actually tighten the chain, so it's even more indication of how worn out it is. So yeah, I think that's as far as we can go here. All right guys, well yeah, that's it. I mean, it's oiling and it does run fine, so it just needs a new bar and chain to be fully functional. So they definitely designed it so they don't want you in there messing with it. I'm sure the McCulloch service centers had those they're called pin and torque security screws. But yeah, even to just replace the lines, you had to take those out to take the motor out. But yeah, hopefully this was entertaining, or maybe help somebody out that had one of these that's not oiling. Thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.